الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Let me know if y'all can hear me. So that's the first order of business. Let me know if we good. I see the mic light over there going, but let me know if we good to go on y'all end. What's up with y'all? Can y'all hear me? While we do that, boop. I'll bring that to the stage. And I don't know how my custom layout move, but I prefer it right there. And yeah, let me know if y'all can hear me in the chat. Drop something in the chat for me, please. Let me know. Okay, all right. I got the first confirmation. What's up, more? What is that? More? What is that? A cupcake? Is that more cake? But appreciate you. I appreciate you. Okay, all right. All right. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday, Juma Mubarak, Shalom Shabbat, Happy Sabbath to the Seventh Day Avengers. Everybody else, Hotep, Black Power. What up, though? What's happening? What's going on? Everybody that's in here, let's click that like button. Get the party started. Sleuth Pro, I see you in here. What up? Michael the Great. What's up? All right. All right, man. So today's conversation is the quantum fingerprint of Allah, the synchronicity of Islam in Africa and America. Now, Sunday, I ain't set the show yet. Sunday at 1 p.m. Oh, I got a surprise for you. All right. But what we gotta do is let me take my time. Let's take our time. Let's have a great conversation today, as usual. We have to. What do you mean? The fingerprint of God in the synchronicities. We are taught in the school of the Kabbalion, which is Egyptian science, which later becomes Greek. It's a known fact that plenty of the Greeks came down to Egypt to study, right? In the Kabbalion laws, it says that one, all is mental. That's number one. And that's really the only law. But the rest of the laws are going to help you understand what is on the mind of God. Woohoo! Can we get an amen? Who would like to know what is on the mind of God? Do you ever stop and just be having a conversation like, yo, hey, let's keep it real. Like, see, I'm going to keep it real with you. I'll keep it real with you when it comes to God, because I call it the street gospel. Because I know y'all be saying the same shit I be saying in my head. Nigga, what is you on? What are you doing? Where you at? Why you allow this? Whoop-de-whoop. Like, come on, man. We be having some real questions. And I always say this. When a lot of those questions that we have go unanswered, we start to subconsciously build a disbelief in God in whom we say we believe. So then you become what I call an unconscious atheist. You're not even aware of it. Okay. So anyway, the Kabbalion teaches us that in law number 2 is something called correspondence. But correspondence just says, hey, you're going to figure it out from the next laws, like vibration, all this vibrating. But that's not even telling us. It's really the other laws after that start to tell us cause and effect, polarity, gender. Okay, so it's like, hold on, cause and effect, gender, positive, negative, polarity. Wait a minute, hold on. That's up, down, cold, hot, yin, yang. Hold on. Now we start to get into this thing. So it's a law called correspondence that says, hey, you're supposed to understand what is the root of causation of the thing that you are witnessing. Yeah, let me say that again. We are supposed to understand the causation of the thing that we are seeing. In other words, why, God, did you do this? Why? Okay. So as I'm studying some West African history, I noticed the timeline of a parallel, because I'm an American history enthusiast. I don't call myself a historian. I'm just enthusiastic about it, right? So I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. This is happening around the same time. What is on God's mind here to allow these things to be happening? And how can we weave and tell the whole story? See, I think a lot of the times we get caught up from an earth perspective to just being on earth and events that's happening. Well, really, we need to step back. I should have had the picture here and look at earth like you're in space from God's perspective. If we want to look at God being outside of ourselves and all wise and out knowing, looking at all of humanity. Okay. So anyway, so Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Oh, I got to blow this up. Oh, I'm bringing the master. I'm bringing Sheikh Sufi Ba. Oh, I'm bringing him. It's going to be a classic conversation. Tales of a Sufi West Side African style. Okay. All right. Now I got to put a little bit of hip hop in it. And if you know Sheikh Sufi, he hip hop all day. You know what I mean? He be in the sermon talking, and next thing you know, he'll bust out a rhyme in the middle of the sermon to convey the point. But that's West Africa for you, though, right? Because in West Africa, it's a total different Islam than Eastern Arab Islam. And I dare say East African Islam, because a lot of the East Africans in their mind are colonized by Arabs. No different than majority of the Black Muslim population in Philadelphia. In their minds, they're Arabs. And that's very dangerous. It's dangerous because I'm going to show you a scripture in the Quran that talks about how disingenuous, the biggest hypocrites are these Arabs. All right. Okay. So I'm going to show you this. All right. All right. So let's get into this conversation. All right. And peace and blessings upon everyone who I say. I know I'm being lazy when not saying it after the name, but peace and blessings upon everyone and who I mentioned. This is the holy family of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And it's his cousin and son-in-law Ali, his daughter Fatima, and their two sons, Ali and Fatima's two sons, Hassan being the oldest and Hussein. Okay. This is very important in this history. Very important. Okay. Because wars is going to be fought about this. Now, here's a hadith. Let me blow it up on my side. There we go. And this is supposed to be certified hadith because it's Sahih Muslim. Okay. This is narrated by Aisha, one of the messenger's wives. The messenger of Allah went out one morning wearing a stripped cloak made of black camel's hair. Then Hassan, son of Ali, came and he took him under the cloak. Then Hussein came and he took him under it. Then Fatima came and he took her under it. Then Ali came and he took him under it. Then he said, "O Allah, these are the people of my house," known as the Al-Abet. "Remove from them all impurity and purify them completely." Okay, this is what it says. Okay, now let me come and look at you real quick. Hold on. The first part of this, bear with me, because we're going to have to go stick our nose in some Arab business, so-called Arab business for a minute. We're going to stick our nose in it. And this is better. I don't watch Love and Hip Hop. I don't watch no kind of wives show, basketball wives. But this right here, oh man, this is some drama is about to unfold. And it's necessary. It's just necessary that I show you this, because it is really a lost history. And it's absolutely the beginnings of what we known as Sufism, mysticism. All right, far as the classical name goes. Okay, so it's important that we understand this. Okay, all right, let me bring this back. Let me blow this up on my side. All right, so here we have the prophet saying who his family is. Okay, let's validate some of this. Okay, all right, you see, I take screenshots. Man, I love this brother, man. I know they do Hussein TV. His name is slipping me right now, but I owe so much to you, brother. So much to you for just dropping straight facts and saying one thing, and I go look it up, and bam, it be right there, and setting the record straight to help me pave the way to see this clearly. All right. So here's a hadith, okay, where the prophet is saying, "Indeed, I am leaving behind two weighty things among you: the book of Allah, which is the Quran, and my Al-Abet, which is the people of my house. If you hold fast to both, you will never go astray after me." That's what he says. Yes, you'll never go astray after me. Yes. So it didn't say I'm leaving behind the Quran and hadiths. Hadiths wasn't even around then. The Quran and my Sunnah, didn't say that. Said the Quran and my family. So what he said. Okay. Okay. Now, history shows us that after the death of the prophet, the next four caliphs, right, who would be in charge from right to left on the screen: Omar, not Omar, I'm sorry, Abu Bakr, then Umar, then Uthman, then Ali. Okay, that's how it happened. Now, there's a great divide, because they call these the four righteous caliphs, and the four rightly guided caliphs, and I should have put it up, and I got the receipts, where in early Sunni literature, they did not include Ali as, one of the four. They just always considered Abu Bakr, Uthman, and Umar. Okay. So they're known as the four rightly guided caliphs. No problem. Okay. Now, the Shia school says, listen, Ali was supposed to be what Abu Bakr is, and he was the next person in line. Everybody knows this. Ali even says this. Okay. But the Sunnis is saying, it's okay. Ali was number 4. We go with what happened, the chain of events. Ali wasn't made clear that Ali was supposed to be the successor of the prophet. Okay. So, everything is copacetic. Well, we're going to have to look at some things. Okay. Because what happens is, after the death of Ali, here comes the Umayyad dynasty, who comes in, and its founder is a gentleman by the name of Muawiyah. Okay? Now, let's get into a little bit of history real fast so we can see something. Let me blow this back up. All right. So under Umar, when Yazid died in 640 CE, Umar appointed Muawiyah to succeed his brother as governor. Muawiyah gradually consolidated power over the entire province of Syria. Number 3, Uthman, when he gets in, Muawiyah's power is expanded significantly. Uthman gave him more autonomy and resources, which allowed Muawiyah to build a strong base of support and even a navy. After Uthman's death, number 4, Muawiyah refused to pledge allegiance to Caliph Ali without justice for Uthman's murder, leading to the first Fitna civil war. Hold on, Mr. Muawiyah, hold on. There's a hadith, authentic, that says the prophet comes out and said, "This is my family." There's the history in hadith that comes, and the prophet says, "I leave behind 2 weighty things, the Quran and my family." Now, if I was in those times and I believe that the prophet is the prophet, and I'm going to show you a prophecy that he did. So he's definitely a prophet. I'm going to show you a prophecy. Okay. If I believe he's the prophet and he says, "I leave behind the Quran and my family," then my responsibility as a man is to uphold, protect this family, enroll with the family, unless the family is just bogus and out of line, right? But if they within due bounds of righteousness, then I have to roll with the family. Mr. Muawiyah is saying, "Hey, somebody killed Uthman and Ali. I want you to put some pressure on them. And if you don't, then guess what? I don't support you." Whoa, hold on. What you mean? Who are you to dictate such of a thing? Okay, so it's about to get into a little bit of drama here. All right, so let's come back here. Historically, Muawiyah, son of Abi Sufyan, was initially an opponent of Muhammad in the early Muslim community. Family background: Muawiyah, the son of Abu Sufyan, a prominent leader of the Quraysh tribe in Mecca, who was a strong opponent of Muhammad's message and actions in the early days of Islam. Early opposition: Muawiyah, following his family's stance, participated in the battles against the Muslims, such as the battles of Badr. Whoa, ladies and gentlemen, are you seeing this? So before you became a Muslim, you actually fought against the prophet. You was an enemy to the prophet. But yet, okay, and the story goes, once the Muslims finally took Mecca, that's when Muawiyah was like, "Shit, they got us. Okay, I'm going to be a Muslim." So he didn't become a Muslim out of sheer revelation and belief. He became a Muslim because he basically felt like he didn't have a choice but to become a Muslim. They would call this an opportunist. Okay. So now an enemy is in leadership. Hey, I ain't making it up. I'm just letting you know an enemy is in leadership. So let's read on. Let's go to the left. Let's look at a gentleman by the name of Marwan for a second. Appointed by Caliph Uthman. Okay, it was his cousin. Okay, personal secretary, political advisor, position, de facto power behind the throne during the later years of Uthman's caliphate. Background: Marwan was exiled by Prophet Muhammad for espionage. That's spying, right? Trading, right? And mischief, but was recalled by Uthman. Once back in Medina, Uthman appointed him as a scribe, his scribe, through whom all his letters and command were issued. Let's go to number on the right-hand side. Okay. Marwan versus Ali at the Battle of Jamal. Marwan fought against Ali in the Battle of Jamal as a part of the camp of who? Aisha. Whoa, 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 whoa. Time out. Time out. Time out. So Uthman, who was the third caliph, who the Sunnis is going to say, hey, now we respect all the caliphs that came, started putting people in power who the prophet exiled out of the cities and communities. Kicked them out. Get out of here. Uthman is bringing them back. What's really funny, and I got the receipts, and you can look some of this up. You can look this up. What's really funny is this, ladies and gentlemen. At the death of Umar, a council is created so they can pick the next caliph, and it was a pick between Uthman and Ali. The question was asked, in order to be the caliph, will you follow the Quran, the Sunnah, the ways of the Prophet, and the previous two caliphs being Abu Bakr and Umar? Ali says, hey, I'll follow the Quran and I will follow the Sunnah. But far as following the other two, I'll make my own decisions. Uthman says, I'll do it. I'll follow the Quran, the Sunnah, and the previous two. And then Uthman became the third caliph. Look it up. I ain't got to lie to you. But then when Uthman gets in power, he starts bringing in people who the prophet kicked out. Oh, it's going to get interesting. Let's come back. Hold on. Let me bring this back full screen here. Okay. So Marwan fought against Ali in the Battle of Jamal as part of a camp with Aisha. Number 2, Marwan opposed Hassan. Who was Hassan? Ali's son. After the death of Ali. Read number 2. After Imam Ali was martyred and Hassan ibn Ali became caliph, Marwan publicly refused to pledge allegiance to Hassan. Hold on. First of all, we ain't gonna skip over the fact that what do you mean, Marwan, you fought with Aisha against Ali? Oh yeah, Aisha, who you saw, and I'm gonna show again, who you saw say who the family was, went to war against Ali. Let's get off of that for a minute. Come back. Marwan says, hey, I fight Ali. That's not upholding the prophet's family. And not only that, I do not support the prophet's grandson, i.e. Ali's son, Hassan, to come into power after Ali. Do that sound like support of the family? No. Who put him in positions of power? Uthman. Okay? This is interesting stuff. Some backstabbing, conspiracy stuff. Okay? All right. So let's go to the far left. Why is Al-Hakam controversial? During the Prophet Muhammad's lifetime, Al-Hakam was known for mocking the Prophet. He is reported in multiple narrations to have mimicked or ridiculed the Prophet's speech, all movements for which he was banished from Medina by the Prophet. The Prophet exiled him to Taif and did not allow him to return during his lifetime. What did Uthman do? When Uthman became caliph, he reversed the Prophet's decision again. This is the third person that y'all see now. He brought Al-Hakam back to Medina despite the Prophet having banished him. Uthman also appointed members of his family, including Al-Hakam's son, Marwan. Oh, the Marwan that's about to go to war? He went to war with Ali and don't want to support Hassan? Oh, really? Including Al-Hakam's son, Marwan, to influential roles in government often seen as nepotism, meaning he's picking family members to hold offices and not being fair. Some reports say al-Hakam was given tax collection and administrative duties. Number 3, Abdullah ibn Abi Sarah, while exile, fled, apostatized from Islam during the Prophet's lifetime and was marked for execution during the conquest of Mecca. Uthman's reaction: his foster brother interceded and secured his pardon. What did he do? He appointed him as governor of Egypt. Okay, we can go to number 4. Dudes drinking alcohol. Umar punished the dude in number 4. Uthman's action in number 4 to the right appointed him as governor of Kufa rather. Number 5, though he was not previously exiled, he was not popular among the Kufians, and is mentioned here due to the pattern Uthman appointed favored family members from the Quraysh elite to key posts. Yes, y'all see this. Okay. All right. Now let's look and see what Ali has to say about this. This is very important, y'all. Let's look and see what Ali has to say about this. Let's go to the far left on number 2. O people, by Allah, what they have done is not new. They have conspired against the legacy of the Prophet and twisted the religion away from his axis. Okay. Now let's go in the middle where I got, the green mark at. And this is Ali in Sermon 3. By Allah, the son of Abu Wafa, which is Abu Bakr, which is the first caliph after the Prophet, dressed himself with the caliphate while he knew that my position in relation to it was the same as the axis in relation to the handmill. Hold on. Go back to the left side on number 2. He said they're conspiring against the legacy of the Prophet and twisted the religion away from his axis. And then in sermon number 3, he refers to himself as the axis. So we're not going to act like he's not talking about himself. He continues in the middle. I watched the plundering of my inheritance till the first one handed it over to the second. Let's go far right. Number 5, letter 62, to Muawiyah. People have turned away from the truth and inclined towards falsehood. They preferred worldly leadership to divine guidance. Yes, because Muawiyah and Ali went to war. And you know what Muawiyah did to cease fire? They started coming out, the soldiers started coming out with Qurans. And that confused Ali's camp. And Ali said, don't fall for that crap. And they're like, no, we can't fight if they holding up the Quran, man. Let's call for a mediation. And then the mediation took place. Do you know in history, click that like button. Do y'all know in history where the Persians came in to fight the Egyptians, and the Egyptians had a high reverence for the goddess Bastet, which is the cat goddess? You know what the Persians did? They painted cats on their shields. And so when they invaded Egypt, the soldiers was thinking that the goddess and the thing that they reverenced, the cat goddess, was actually fighting against them. Totally up their psychology. That's what Marwan did. Or not Marwan, Muawiyah did that with Ali, had his soldiers pull up the Quran. Okay? Spiritual warfare. All right? All right. Now here goes the prophecy from the Prophet. And this is in Sahih Bukhari, the number 1 most authentic source in Sunni literature. There will be affliction, fitna, which is civil war, from this direction, from where the horn of Satan comes out, meaning the east. And he pointed towards the house of Aisha. What? Hold on. You saying that there's going to be affliction and civil war and the Satan's horns is going to come from over here, and you pointing at the house of Aisha? But after your death, Aisha is actually going to start. She's going to start it. She's going to start a civil war with Ali. That man's a prophet. Okay? Say what you want to say. All right? So let's read this. Let's go to the left. All right? Now, this is sorted by Shia sources. Okay? Talal approached Aisha in Mecca after Uthman's death, saying, "Look, they have made Ali Khalifa." She replied, "What right does Ali have to rule over our necks? I will not stay in Medina as long as Ali is in power." This reflects Aisha's open rejection of Ali's caliphate, indicating she did not recognize his authority at the time. Okay? The context and interpretation takes place after Uthman's assassination in 656, during the early days of the first fitna, reflects Aisha's position prior to the battle of the Camel, where she actively opposed Ali. Her words, "I refuse. I will not stay in Medina as long as Ali is in power," clearly shows her non-acceptance to his rule. Let's move to the right, which is narrated by Aisha. What did she say? "The messenger of Allah went out one morning wearing a striped cloak made of black camel's hair. Hassan, son of Ali, came. He took him under the cloak. Hussein came, took him under it. Fatima came, took her under it. Ali came and took him under it. Then he said, 'Oh Allah, these are the people of my house. Remove from them all impurity and purify them completely.'" This is her words. These are the words of Aisha, witnessing that Ali, Fatima, Hussein, Hassan is family. And now you saying you don't support Ali, and then you go to war with Ali? Come on. Come on. No. And the peace and blessings upon Ali. Because I'm going to tell you something about Ali. Aisha came with thousands of soldiers looking for Ali. They went to war. Ali's soldiers chopped her camel's legs, hence the battle of the camel. And when they knew it was Aisha, Ali personally escorted her back to Medina and said, "This is the mother of the believers." You want to talk about somebody who had to bite his tongue, who got robbed of the caliphate? And then his own cousin and father-in-law as the prophet, his wife goes to war with you and you can't kill her, you won't kill her, and then you will say something positive about her and say, "No, she's the mother of the believers," after she tried to kill the man in war? You know how much humility that takes to be in alignment and to just do the greater good in a situation like that? Man. Now let's look into this is one of the prophets. Otherwise, Salma, I think she's actually my favorite one. Her and Mother Khadijah for sure. Salma, she writes a letter to Aisha, and she says, "You are the beloved of the messenger of Allah and the mother of the believers. Allah has ordered you to stay in your house, and this going out of yours will only bring fitna," which is civil war, "to the Ummah," which is the community. By Allah, you are going to bring reconciliation. You are not going to bring reconciliation, nor will your presence be a deterrent to falsehood. Do not be the cause of which you have no power to prevent. Then she reminded Aisha of Surah 33, verse 33. "Stay in your houses and do not display yourselves like the women of the former times of ignorance." Now, y'all can look this up, what I'm about to tell you. Do you know Aisha used to call Salma, "You black crow," because of her dark skin? Used to call her a black crow. Look it up. Now, this is what Salma says, right? Let's go to the left. She is reported to have said, "If I had not heard the messenger of Allah say Ali is with the truth and the truth is with Ali, I would not say what I say now." Let's move to the right. Salma is reported to have said, "I heard the messenger of Allah say Ali is with the Quran and the Quran is with Ali." They will not separate until they return to me at the hard. Okay? Oh, whoa, whoa. See, ladies and gentlemen, trust me. I'm going to tie it all together. Just ride with me. Ride with me. I'm going to tie it together. I promise you. Salma hears the prophet says the Quran and the truth is with Ali. She testifies to this. She says this. And this is what I'm saying. When you start studying this Islamic thing, you got a whole group of people say, nah, they ain't really rolling with Ali. We respect him. We roll with him. And then you got the Shias like, what are you talking about? It's plain like, no. We're not going to skip over this. Yo, there's some treacherous things that are happening. And Ali is the Imam. And by the way, all Sufi schools trace themselves back to Ali and Fatima. None of the Sufi schools go to Sunni. But when you start looking up current Sufi schools, guess what? They tell you that they fall under the denomination of Sunni simply because Sunni empires was in power at the time of these Sufi schools. But as my man Sheikh Sufi said, if you want to piss a Muslim off, especially a Sunni Muslim off, tell them you a Sufi and watch they be like, oh, astaghfirullah, brother, ooh, right? His shirk, right? So how is it though when we go look it up, it look like the mystics fall up under their school? The mystics never fell up under their school. I'm gonna show you where the mystics fell under. I'm gonna show you this. So just bear with me because this stuff is good. All right. Now, according to both Sunni and Shia traditions, she had a deep loyalty towards Ali. Okay. After Uthman's assassination, when Ali became caliph, she supported him openly. She once sent a message to Ali: "You are the most deserving of this matter in religion and in closeness to the Prophet. If I were a man, I would have gone out with you." Whoa, that's heavy. That's heavy. Okay. Now, it's something called the Battle of Siffin. Who is this? Ali versus Muawiyah. Cause Muawiyah refused to acknowledge Ali's caliphate and demanded vengeance for Uthman, leading to civil war. Outcome, the battle ended in a stalemate, followed by a political arbitration, as I said earlier. Now, let's get into Hassan, Ali and Fatima's son. Most historical Shia sources agree. He was poisoned by his wife. She was allegedly incited and promised marriage to Yazid, son of Muawiyah, in exchange for the assassination. After the deed, Muawiyah reportedly denied giving her Yazid, fearing she poisoned him too. So the prophet's grandson is poisoned, and they saying that Muawiyah, who we already seen, does not support Ali, went to war against Ali, and was an enemy against Muhammad before he became a Muslim, has now conspired and successfully poisoned the grandson of the prophet. Let's move to number 3 on the right-hand side. Let's deal with Marwan. He sent troops against Hussein because after Hassan, now it's Hussein. So now Marwan is up. Although Yazid, son of Muawiyah, was caliph at the time of Karbala, which is a war, Marwan played a key role in pressuring the Umayyad court in Medina to force Hussein to pledge allegiance to Yazid or face exile. Marwan reportedly said to Walid ibn Uthman, the governor of Medina, "If Hussein refuses to give his allegiance, then strike off his head." Ladies and gentlemen, it is sad to say that Hussein was beheaded, head cut off, and taken up, I believe it was to Damascus, Syria, so Yazid could see that Hussein's head was cut off. Is that supporting the family of the prophet? Listen, I ain't even touched, and I touched it before, but not today. Fatima, the daughter of the prophet, the door incident, Umar, comes in and bangs the door, pushes through, make her have a miscarriage. She dies 6 months later. That's not respect for the prophet. They openly go against Ali. That's not respect for the prophet. And now the grandsons, one is poisoned, and the other one is beheaded. And these are the people that's in power who were enemies or kicked out from the prophet. Y'all see this shit? You see this? Wow. So the Arabs can't tell you shit about Islam in the sense of, especially the Sunnis, because they gonna duck it. They gonna duck it and flat out lie. I seen a popular Sunni so-called scholar, Mufti Mink, lie. And flat out told a lie. Talking about Ali. I wish I should play the video clip. Talking about when Abu Bakr, when the prophet died and Abu Bakr became the caliph, many people said, this is what he said, many people said that Ali didn't want to give his allegiance to Abu Bakr. That's not true. When Umar came to his house, Ali was excited and ran out the house, and he almost didn't have all of his shirt. His shirt wasn't even all the way on. This is what he said. And I'm like, why are you lying? You acknowledge that the history says that's not true. The history says, and Sunni, so-called Sunni authentic hadith says, Ali doesn't pledge his allegiance to Abu Bakr until after the death of Fatima, and Fatima dies 6 months after her father, the prophet, dies. So what do you mean he ran out the house and he pledged his allegiance? See, that makes me think within the Sunni. See, when you understand Islam is dirty, man. The most beautiful, purest thing, but they got some niggas in it. Like the Arabs is worse than niggas. I'm telling you now. Man, I know Arabs who go to Masjid Al-Noor and they run a corner store and they sell pork, bacon in the corner store. Ham, spam, they sell it in the corner store. And of course, they sell alcohol and tobacco. Okay? But pork, come on, man. God damn. This stuff is not even permissible for you, but you come right here in the inner city, in these black neighborhoods and poor white folks in there too, right? You come into the inner city and you sell pork. But on Fridays, your behind is up in the masjid making salat. Vicious. Okay? So they got their own house to clean up. Clean up your own shit before you come fucking with this West Side shit. And got something to say, because we're going to go there. And here it is in the Quran itself. In the Arabs of the desert are the worst in unbelief and hypocrisy. Say it again. And the Arabs of the desert are the worst in unbelief and hypocrisy, and most fitted to be in ignorance of the command which Allah has sent down to the messenger. This is in the Quran, talking about to the very people who believe the Quran was specifically revealed to them as a race of people. Fuck out of here. And this is why you have this rift between Sunni and Shia. And Shia is on y'all ass, as they should be. Bogus. So now let's look at a quick little family tree so we can understand this mysticism real quick. At the top, you're going to have Fatima and Ali. They give birth to Hassan, the second Imam after Ali, peace be upon him, makes his transition. Hussein, after Hassan is poisoned, Hussein becomes Imam. And everything from that point is about to fall up under Hussein. So this is why you see Ali Zain, the fourth Imam. Then you see the fifth Imam. The sixth Imam is very interesting because he's going to have two sons. Now, some say that his oldest son, Musa, everything should have went to him. I believe Musa was the oldest son. Everything should have continued under him. But Ishmael, his other son, this becomes these the one, this becomes the ancestors, as you see, of the assassins. Okay. This is the beginning of the Fatimid dynasty, who are the caliphs in Egypt. The Ismailis are the ones who are going to bring Islamic mysticism. This is why I tell you all Sufis trace themselves back to Ali. If you coming back to Ali, that's Shia. Technically, it's not Sunni. Okay? The Assassins, remember the video game, The Assassin's Creed? That's really after a group of Muslims who had a castle that was crushing these Sunni leaders and anybody else that was in opposition to them on a stealth level. Public assassinations was their thing. And then they was defeated by the Mongols. All right. All right. Now, when you look at this timeline of empires, okay, when you see the Umayyads in the middle, that was Marwan and them. When you see the Spanish Umayyads when they go into Moorish Spain, that's the Abbasids, the Samanids, the Seljuks of Iran, the Almoravids and Almohads, which they try to say is more of the black, that is from Northwest Africa going up into Spain, the Seljuks of Rome. All of these Islamic empires are Sunni. Now, this is where we about to get into some mysticism. We about to get there. All of these empires are Sunni. In the mind of God, because now Shia, you have to ask yourself a question. If the Sunni are wrong, how has the Sunni be able to have empires and you believe what is right, your history is correct, but Allah has only given you one empire. And that one empire is the Fatimid Caliphate. Named after who? Fatima. Oh, so when you name yourself after that which we are really to follow in this craft, who we right, have protected, right? Now, all of a sudden, you get a caliphate. Whereas before and after, you do not. These are the founders of Cairo, Egypt. Cairo didn't exist until they came and built it and actually saw that the planet Mars was rising at the time. And then they dedicated the name of the city. I'm sorry, some of the build out of the city. Let me cut this fan off. To Mars. Okay. All right. So they will build Al-Azhar, which means the most radiant, which is the nickname of Fatima. Okay. This is the second oldest running university in the world right now to this day. Still running. The second oldest in the world behind Al-Qarwen, which is in Fez, Morocco, which is Islamic too. We got the first university, Fez, Morocco, period. And then the second oldest running, we got the first two oldest running when you're dealing with the Islamic sciences. Okay? Still in operation. And then shortly thereafter, they built something known as the House of Knowledge, the Dar al-Ilm, the House of Knowledge. Library, all the sciences, all of the sciences. This is the Fatimid dynasty. The Qalawun complex, right? 6-pointed stars, as y'all can see by his head, the 6-pointed stars are implemented inside of the architecture here. This was the dynasty that was heavy into knowledge. I just showed you. It's called the House of Knowledge. They built a big old library, okay? Heavy into metaphysics, okay? All right. Now, let's get into some West African Islam. Y'all ready? Here go to part 2. Y'all ready? Trust me, I'm going to tie it together when I get to America. Let's get into some West African Islam. Let's get into the great Sheikh Ahmed Tijani. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. This is the oldest Sufi, or the biggest Sufi order in all of Africa, the Tijanis. All right. Now, pulling from this book called Tariqa, which is a Sufi order. So Sufi order Tijani, it says in 1774, when he finally reached Mecca, he met an Indian Sufi sheikh named Ahmed bin Abdullah. Through the Indian sheikh's servant, the Sufi sheikh claimed to have been forbidden to hold discussions with any human being except his own servant. After Ahmed bin Abdullah died, it was said that Sheikh Tijani had received all of his occult mystical powers from him through his Sufi order. Okay? 1774. 1774, that's what it says, right? So I'm like, well, shit, 1774, that sounds kind of familiar. Let's go to America. Well, 1774, we had something called the Articles of Association. And if you go to point number 2, it says, we will neither import nor purchase any slaves imported after the first day of December next, after which time we will wholly discontinue the slave trade and will neither be concerned in it ourselves, nor will we hire our vessels, nor sell our commodities or manufactures to those who are concerned in it. So here we are having a declaration on the record in America, same year, Sheikh Tijani is getting mystical powers. The same year, in God's mind, this is what we got to get into God's mind. In God's mind, he said, you know what? I need some of y'all in these colonies, 13 colonies, I need y'all to put this on paper and put King George on notice and tell him y'all done with slavery. And you're not going to hire no boats, and you ain't buying nothing for anybody. You ain't doing no business with anybody that's associating themselves with slavery. This is before the American Revolutionary War, 1 year prior. Couple months, technically, because that's going to shoot off like in March, the following March. Right? So I find that ironic, but let's keep going. Let's go back to the book. All right. We want to read the mysticism. Let's read the mysticism. Let's take our time. So on the left-hand side, during this first year of his stay, right, Tijani was blessed with the vision of the prophet. He announced to his followers that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, appeared to him in a wakeful state and commanded him to leave all the ways, all the previous paths and tariqas, all the Sufi orders he had been following before that time, saying, no one will reproach you, for I myself will be the intercessor in front of your Lord and your helper. He informed his following that the prophet, peace be upon him, asked him to accept the rank of Khalifa of the messenger of Allah, and that the prophet himself assigned him the weird, right, which is like a group of sayings, almost kind of, it's like it's litanies, right, and new conditions of the tariqa, the Sufi order, saying, keep this Sufi order without retiring from the world, nor ceasing to interact with people until you reach the spiritual station that is promised to you, maintaining your state without any undue mortification nor cultural efforts. Okay. The prophet, peace be upon him, also told him that these prayers were such that if someone accepted them from Sheikh Tijani, also said that he has given the position of Al-Khatum ul Wiliyat, the seal of the sainthood, and that this meant that Sheikh Tijani had obtained a position never to be reached again by the saints that come after him, and therefore the perfect practice of the order. Now, the Sufi order of Tijani from Ahmed Tijani was the main teacher of the doctrines of the order. Okay, so I'm gonna stop right there. All right, so this so we can get some time frame references. So 1778, and then he's gonna go from 81 to 99. So let's deal with America. First of all, Thomas Jefferson is known to have a Quran. Here's a book about that Quran. You can Google it and you can go see Thomas Jefferson had a Quran. And it's very interesting. His Quran is spelled with a K, just like Noble Drew Ali, Quran is spelled with a K. But anyway, look at what Thomas Jefferson said in the original Declaration of Independence. A lot of us don't know this. He, talking about King George, has waged cruel war against human nature itself, violating its most sacred rights of life and liberty in the persons of a distant people who've never offended him. In other words, these niggas ain't never bothered you. Captivating and carrying them into slavery into another hemisphere, or to incur miserable death in their transportation thither. This piratical warfare and opium of infidel powers is the warfare of the Christian. He's in all caps because he's appealing to his moral sense, his moral compass. The Christian king of Great Britain. Okay? Determined to keep an open market when men should have been bought and sold, as he has prostituted his negative for suppressing every legislative attempt to prohibit or restrain this execrable commerce. I'll stop right there. Thomas Jefferson is putting on the record at the same time Sheikh Tijani is creating order. There's another current that's coming and still saying, hey, we want Black people in slavery to stop in this Declaration of Independence that was omitted and taken out. Why? Because it's art of war strategy, fool. Because it's the white supremacist victim mindset. They love the white man's nuts so much. They want his Johnson so much. They want to be victims of white supremacy so much that they can't understand art of war strategy. Because in less than 100 years, a civil war is going to take out where the southern states will fight for this cause to have slaves. So now, if we can foresee that we know that these people who want slaves will fight for it, you think they won't fight for slavery right now in 1776 as we make this Declaration of Independence and join King George, who still has slaves, and they all will have slaves, and this thing of ours, this 13 colonies, will never become an independent nation. So what should you do? Shut the fuck up about slavery right now is what you should do. But a lot of Black people can't, Black men can't have that conversation because they too far in their emotions, rather. Right? Moving on. What happens in 1787 as well? Whoa! The famous peace and friendship treaty between Morocco and the United States happens at the same time. Hey, wait a minute. So Sheikh Ahmed Tijani is over in the Moroccan area, Algeria area, northern Africa, creating a Sufi order. And at the same time, that same region is making agreements with the United States. You see the mind of God, right? So I know 1787, my favorite 1787 is this by far in history. By freaking far, nothing touches this. Nothing. This is the real New World Order, Northwest Ordinance. The real New World Order is this. Article 6, the very last article. There shall be neither slavery or involuntary servitude in the said territory, otherwise than punishment of a crime, if you have been duly convicted. There will be no slaves allowed in this territory. That's why I say I'm from the OHIO. The clan don't want no smoke because we quick to tag their toes, right? I'm from the north. Salute to Sheikh Sufi because he from Indiana, one state over. It's going to be a total different vibration when you come. See, the slaves used to run here to get free. Facts. So the mindset of the mentality for the ones that know, that really know, man, we will murk the Ku Klux Klan. We will murk the Confederates. And now, when you understand spiritual Star Wars on how to do it, we'll really do it. Easy. So at the same time, the Sheikh is getting these superpowers and creating this order in Africa. Morocco is signing a treaty with America, And as America is signing this treaty with Morocco, they're also carving out future land. These states ain't even states yet. This is 1787. These states don't come in until the early 1800s. But they saying these would-be states, ain't no slaves going to be allowed in these new states. Somebody is writing on your behalf. Okay? Look at God move. So let's come to the great Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba. And y'all going to really get it on Sunday. This history. Man, the stories you hear about him is they tried to shoot him and bullets wouldn't hit him. They wouldn't stop the boat on the ocean so he can pray, and he stepped off the boat and prayed on the water. And when he came up from praying on the water, he had sand on him as if he was praying on sand and didn't sink in the ocean. A lot of mystical tale. We're going to get into it Sunday. But he's the founder of the city of Touba, the great mosque of Touba, in Senegal. Ladies and gentlemen, the Sufis, which are the mystics, have their own city. This is like a city within, it's really a country within its own state. It's its own jurisdiction. In other words, it is our version of the Vatican. Because you know the Vatican got its own police, got its own government, got its own thing. You know what I'm saying? Got its own thing going. So does Touba. No disrespect to Mecca. Beautiful. Beautiful. But it's right here. Especially for those of us in America, because it's a good chance majority of that DNA is going to be West Side African. Guaranteed. Right? All right. So now let's get into the foundation of the Muradaya order in Touba. All right. Where I want to start at here. Well, let's just read through it. The Moorish Brotherhood began to develop at the end of the 19th century following the defeat of wall-off monarchies. This period of deep socio-political crisis was conducive to the birth of religious organizations founded by strong personalities renowned for their science and holiness. Ahmadou Bamba founded the Moorish Brotherhood in 1883 with its capital in Touba, Senegal. Okay, let me move down some. Let's move down to the third paragraph. Abdul Ahmed Makbi, the third caliph, which is a Moorish leader and son of Ahmadou Bamba, declared that Ahmadou Bamba had met the Prophet Muhammad in his dreams. Then Sheikh Tijani had the same thing. A tale that has become an article of faith for Moorish believers. During the month of Ramadan, 1895, Muhammad and his companions appeared to him in a dream in Touba to confer upon him the rank of, Mujadid of his age and to test his faith. From this, Bamba is said to also have been conferred the rank of servant of the Prophet. He founded the city of Touba in 1887. Okay. Now, this is what I know in history. Joseph Hayne Rainey was the first Black U.S. House of Representative. He died in 1887. So what happened is in Grant's administration, 1870, Blacks started coming into political office because the 15th Amendment was passed in 1870. So I know if you're in the 1860s, 70 era, we know that Civil War, now you're about to get certain rights and then you're about to come into the government. So the same time that Sheikh Bamba is creating something in Touba is the same time really that we're also stepping into government over here. It's just a progression from Sheikh Tijani to the 1774. It's a progression. Okay. By 1910, the French realized that Bamba was not interested in waging violent war against them. Now, hold on. I got to preface this. It's because the French knew that Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba had too much power and they said too much influence. And they said, oh, if this dude tell the Africans to go to war against us, we're going to have a problem. We got to kick his ass up out of here. Exile you go. Okay, so this is what this is about. Okay. So by 1910, the French realized that Bamba was not interested in a raging violent war against them, was in fact quite cooperative, eventually releasing him to his return to his expanded community. In 1918, they rewarded him with the French Legion of Honor for enlisting his followers in the First World War. He refused it. They allowed him to establish his community in Tuba, believing in part that his doctrine of hard work could be made to work with the French economic interests. His movement continued to grow, and in 1926, he began to work for the Great Mosque at Tuba. After his death in 1927, he was buried in Tuba. Okay, now, so we at 1910 up to 1927. Okay, now that's interesting. Noble Drew Ali founds the Moorish Science Temple in 1913. Look on the picture of the left, one of the famous pictures of the mosque, right? October 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th of 1928. Go back to the previous slide. It was 1927 at the death of the Prophet. Again, the French releasing them in 1910. At the same time they're releasing them, Noble Drew Ali is staking the flag in the ground. Over here, Islam is now first coming to the black man and woman. Over here, in the same timeline, Amadou Bamba gets up out of here. Another temple is established. Let's move on to another sheikh out of Africa. Ibrahim, I don't know how you say it, Nice, was from Senegal. Nice was the first West African to have led Al-Azhar Mosque in Egypt. Research shows that was 1961. Wait a minute, though. What's my next slide? Hold on before I get there. Wait a minute, though. Al-Azhar, didn't we say Al-Azhar was founded by who? The Fatimid dynasty? Yes. See, the Arabs and Moors, and see, everybody got some shit with them. And everybody kind of stop acting like they so goddamn holy. Because what's not talked about is the Saharan slave trade that was happening under, if you want to say the Moors or Islamic rule, when they come into the Sahara and getting Africans and taking them across the desert and taking them into Iraq, and off you go to whoever wants to purchase you, European or whoever. And that actually lasted longer than the African slave trade to the Americas. You don't want to talk about that, though. Okay? But anyway, so I was saying that to say, the Arabs have never allowed a black man to lead prayer in their mosque. Yeah. It was said, I didn't hear this or read it, somebody told me. It was said that there was an issue at one time that where some Arabs didn't even want to stand next to a black person. But it's funny because the person who used to call the prayer in the time of the Prophet Bilal was Ethiopian and black. Interesting. I can show you some sayings about the Prophet and hadiths that's saying, hey, when y'all get to Egypt, it's going to be some people with some woolly hair. Look after them. Be cool with them because we related through them through marriage and kinship. Them family. That's what he said. Anyway, moving on. So the sheikh, and this is what I'm saying, look into the mind of God. The first time ever that a sheikh leads all Muslims, regardless of skin and creed and nationality, the first time a black African sheikh does this is in the masjid created by the Fatimid dynasty. Okay? Now, this is 1961. Why do I have this here? Because in 1964, I know historically this was a political party switch. Barry Goldwater against LBJ. LBJ looking like, nigga, shut up. I don't want to hear this shit. Right? But I know 64 in the culture is the 6'4" Impala. with the hydraulics. And what do we call the hydraulics? We call the hydraulics switches. But there was a political party switch in 1964 because Martin Luther King did not vote for Barry Goldwater, the Republican. Black folks have been 100%, of course not 100%, but when I say 100%, you know what I mean, 100% down with the Republican Party before that, because it's the party who got you free. It's the party who went to war for you. It's the party who then gave you the 15th Amendment that said, no, you're going to be a senator. Go look at the first senators in House of Representatives. Republicans. But since Barry Goldwater didn't think that, according to him, he didn't think that the Civil Rights Act of 64-65 was constitutional, he didn't sign off on it. Martin Luther King was like, well, listen, King said it. I don't believe him to be a racist, but since he don't endorse it, I can't rock with it. LBJ is like, yeah, shit, y'all give me the vote, man, I'll do it. So now you got to play your enemy to get what you want. That's what happened. You can look it up. So it was a switch. So at the same time, there was a switch in Africa, in the Muslim world as well. Sheikh Ibrahim leading the prayer is the same time that we're making a political switch, because in truth, in 1965, when you get the Civil Rights Act, it is now 95 years later, because in 1870 is when you got the right to vote via 15th Amendment. This is where the United States is bogus, because you allowed the South to clap back and create Jim Crow under your watch. Now, it's one thing when they separated and we didn't have the 13th Amendment in play, 14th Amendment and 15th Amendment in play, but when it's in play and you did nothing because you wanted to avoid a second civil war, you bogus. So we got a 95-year gap where we wasn't voting. How is it that all of a sudden, how is it in 1870, in that era, you had Hiram Revels, your first black senator in Mississippi? We just saw Joseph Raines, right? Rainey, we just saw him as the first black U.S. congressman, House of Representative. How is it that we're in office, but then all of a sudden we can't freaking vote? That don't make no sense. Oh, we can vote in 1965? But how we get in office then if we couldn't vote? Because you could vote from the 15th Amendment. That's where America dropped the ball at. And I'm a big patriot because I know the history. I know the history. I know who on your side. And I champion those, right? But we got to call a spade a spade. You're not going to get 100% on your test. That's wrong. Wrong is wrong. Right is right. Okay? All right. Moving on. So now let's read this. Where we going to start at here? So what they saying here, let's go to the top where it say 22 years old. In 1922, Sheikh Ibrahim's elder brother, Muhammad al-Khalifa, became his father's successor or Khalifa. The 22-year-old Sheikh Ibrahim spent most of his time farming in the family fields and teaching the growing number of disciples in the nearby village of the Kusi. I'm not going to even try to say that word. Although Sheikh Ibrahim never claimed to be his father's successor, due to his charisma, right, and his ferocious knowledge, he gained a large number of disciples, and tensions arose between his disciples and those of his elder brother, Muhammad al-Khalifa. In 1929, that's highlighted, while on the farm in Kusi, the youthful Sheikh Ibrahim announced that he had been given the keys or the key to secrets of divine knowledge, and thus became Khalifa or Sheikh in the Tijani order, a position yet to be obtained by anyone as of that time. Sheikh Ibrahim then declared that whoever wishes to attain Marifa, a level of divine certainty of the Sufi order, must follow him. In 1930, after the prayer of Eid Fitr, right, the end of the month of Ramadan, a fight broke out between him, his disciples, and his brother's disciples, and then he ended up moving. So 1929, he has a revelation here. He comes out and says, listen, I am given the key to the secrets of divine knowledge. And in 1930, there's a fight and the breakup. Yes? Y'all see it? Okay. 1929 is the year that Noble Drew Ali died. So as Drew Ali break up out of here, you're getting the keys to a city. And in 1930, we saw is the year, it says, see what it say? Founded the Nation of Islam. Master Fard Muhammad comes and creates the Nation of Islam July 4th, 1930. You see this? You see? You see? So, excuse me. What did you see? You saw how both the Sheikhs Ahmadou Bamba and Sheikh Ibrahim Nice of Africa timelines, and I should have put Sheikh Tijani on here as well. Their timelines parallel. These two parallel with Noble Drew Ali and Master Fard Muhammad. You saw that. You saw earlier where Sheikh Tijani, his movements parallel with legislation that's being passed or being introduced that the black man and woman is going to be free in this country. You saw that. Okay. So now this is kind of like, oh, we ain't there yet. About to get to a part 3. So now here's the synchronicity. Ali. Muhammad Ali. Yes? The first one to get the title, the GOAT. Yes? Why do I have this here? What am I saying? Again, the Fatimids, rewind it. The Shia do not have a ruling dynasty, an empire that runs the government of the Muslim world. They only had one, and that was the Fatimid dynasty. When they chose to align themselves up with Fatima and Ali, it was approved by Allah, because all things happen by God, as we say, that this dynasty will be the one that will be the one and only dynasty to look at from a Shia's perspective. When we get into the Shia and we start to understand Ishmael, or what they call Ishmaelism, comes, and then the schools that come under that, which is the Fatimid dynasty and the assassins. I find it very interesting that my son's name is Ishmael. I didn't name him, okay, at all. That, okay, now this is the only thing that's standing when you go in that name. And then when you speed it up in America and you get Noble Drew Ali, Muhammad Ali, how is it when you take on the title Ali, you start to make a very, very strong impact? What is it about that? And I dare say my brother Muhammad Ali, who now may go by the name of Amaru Ali, right? Make an impact. What is it? What is it that the mind of God wants us to understand, that he always sanctions the Ali? What is it about that? I'll show you what it is that we are to do. Whether we do it now, and I understand this, man, I wouldn't, your work, to me, in my opinion, well, I ain't even say that. I'll say it this way. Just like how Neville Goddard's videos years ago was nowhere near the views where they're at today, I know that this message is futuristic. I'm an Aquarius. It has to be. It's going to take root in the future. I'm very, very clear on that. But it's going to be documented. So let's get it cracking. The solar eclipse in 2017 and 2024. In 2017, In fact, I did this in 2017. I was on Brother Rich show talking about what's going to happen in 7 years to come and that nobody was paying attention to. Because I knew that August 21st, 2017 had a pair. It had another one that was coming April 8th, 2024, and it's going to create a crisscross. And what a coincidence. That X, directly under that X, is Confederate territory. Start to get in Confederate territory. Started to, when they tried to repeal them, especially when they tried to repeal the Missouri Compromise. Okay? But it forms X marks the spot. Yes? Okay. All right. So let me see something. So when we zoom in on this X, we zoom in on the X, it comes to a place known as Carbondale, Illinois. Carbon, which is said to be the base for all life. No carbon, no life. You got it? You got that? No carbon, no life. Now, I'm going to have to open up another tab. Can I do that? Hold on. Don't do it this way. Let's see if I can do it this way. There we go. I'm going to open up another tab. There we go. And you and I are going to have to go. Let me get it ready. All right, let me open up this tab. We're going to have to go live. Chrome tab, Illinois map. Let's share this. Okay. Yeah, this is fine. Can we X out of this? Thank you. Okay. Now, why is this important? Hold on, give me a minute. Hold on. Be too far up. There we go. See it? You see it? Cairo. As in the same Cairo, Egypt, yes. As the place where the first black sheikh was able to make prayer. Yes. All of this in the same region of Carbondale. I just want to show you this first. So as we go up, I did this years ago about this eclipse. What do that say? Right above Cairo. Future city. It's been abandoned in a sense. Mainly because it sits between the rivers. Best believe it's a flood area. It's probably not safe to build right there per se. But the divine is trying to get our attention to something. Future city. Cairo is yours. Yes? Okay. Now I know when you come up the Mississippi on this side, let me kind of get out of here a little bit. Oh, where is it at? Or I'll just type it in. Ready? You're going to have Karnak, Illinois is one. Karnak. Is not Karnak, Illinois the temple of Karnak in Egypt? Yes? Yes? Did you know that, again, when we looked at the eclipse in Carbondale, Carbondale sits within something called Panther's Den. You see it popping up right there. In Wakanda, which is Wakanda, Black Panther, Wakanda, MW. Y'all don't play with words too much, but damn, that's a good one though. Wakanda, Panthers Den. Are you serious? Because Macondo, Illinois, and all of this was the region in which the eclipse was coming over. Okay? All right. Now, also in Illinois, there's something called Pyramid State Recreational Area, because it's something called Pyramid State Park in Illinois. Okay? So just kind of zooming in on some stuff. Pyramid State Recreational Area. Eclipse Pyramid right there. Huh? Huh? Is this not the land of Lincoln? Black man, black woman? Huh? Now, it's another town somewhere on that Mississippi that I got to find because it's going to bother me. And I'm missing, there go Carbondale's right here. Okay? That's Carbondale. Now, hold on. Let's just ask the question. Was Illinois called Little Egypt? Yes. Southern Illinois' nickname, Little Egypt. That it was Thebes. There we go. Southern Illinois were named after cities in Egypt like Cairo, Thebes, and Karnak. And it was Thebes, Illinois, that sits on the Mississippi River. Remember, I was trying to find it? Told you. It's right there. I ain't lying. Thebes. Thebes. Right up there on the Mississippi. Not all that far from Cairo. Cairo's at the bottom. Yes, there we go. You see it in red as Thebes. Come on down the Mississippi, which is our Nile River. The blue Nile. The white Nile is the Ohio River. They meet together at Cairo. So you got Future City. You see it. It's a Mound City. You got the Black Panther. All this shit that's pointing to you. Right here in Illinois, the land of Lincoln, the one that put the work in and paid the ultimate price. Yes. Come on, man. Come on, man. Now, watch the spirit of this. Watch the spirit of this. Let's read this. Blow this up. Office of the Mayor, City of Chicago, Rahm Emanuel. Remember, he was like the chief of staff for Obama. And then when the mayor position came, he like, oh, Obama, I'm out. I'm about to go run this city, nigga. Pew! Proclamation. Whereas the Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, the Hamites, and the Canaanites, who were permitted by the old pharaohs of Kemet to traverse from East Africa and later form themselves kingdoms extended from northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa, the Atlantic islands, onto the present-day continental Americas, and whereas the indigenous Moorish people of the Americas are now united in order to again link themselves with the family of nations, and whereas the Moorish Americans, being aboriginal to the territories of North, Central, and South Americas, have formed a sovereign theocratic government. Ooh, we're gonna have to talk about that. Guided by the command, that's Quran, commands, guided by the command principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice through virtue of the universal right to self-determination, as well as with the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples guaranteed in the Charter. And whereas on January the 8th, 1886, Noble Drew Ali was born in the state of North Carolina, destined to become the first patriot of his mentally enslaved Moorish Americans people. In 1912, he was later anointed as El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali by the heads of Egypt in the holy city of Mecca to return to the United States as the last prophet and founding father of the newly risen nation of Moorish Americans. As a result of the 13th Amendment, Moorish people were emancipated from slavery in 1865. Now, therefore, I, Rahm Emanuel, Mayor of the City of Chicago, do hereby proclaim January the 8th through 15th, 2012, to be Moorish American Week in Chicago, and urge all residents to recognize the events planned for this time. Dated the 22nd day, almost winter solstice of December 2011. 2012, I thought the calendar ran out and it was going to be a world change. You thought it was going to be the end of the world, like the earth, and world and earth is two totally different things. January 2012, you got crowned into a new aspect of government, a theocratic form of government is to be worked. What you talking about? Progression, 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 progression. This is why I am so anti-white supremacy talk. You mean to tell me a mayor of Chicago said, yo, this is the Moorish American Day? Do you stand with the League of, not League of Nations, but you stand, upon the, the rights of human beings with the charter? Like, ho, 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 ho. This the land of Lincoln. We just saw, we got Thebes, we got Karnak, we got Cairo, we got Future City. What the hell do you think we're supposed to do? It ain't rocket science. What you think we can do? But see, we got free will. We ain't got to do nothing. We can just pass by it. Because you're going to say Illinois is too cold. And then you're going to say Florida's too hot. And palm trees are too nice. And you don't like coconut water. And you don't like blue oceans. You just ain't going to be able to win. Right? You just ain't going to be able to win. I already know how it works. Right? So anyway, that kind of concludes what we have for today. The fingerprint of God going in both worlds, on both sides of the continents, exalting and raising those. There's a counter current that gets created. The way the earth is shaped with that split known as the Atlantic Ocean, specifically the Atlantic, just look at it from that side. The Eastern Hemisphere is like the right side of our brain. So when you're looking at a globe and you look to the right, because that dealt more with the spiritual principles, the East. The West is like the left side of the brain, the left side of the globe, where you see America at. This was logic and arithmetic and practicality and materialism, in a sense. Over there is more abstract in thought form, spiritual morals, things of that nature. So it's creating a ripple effect on both sides of the equation. Literally, that's what happens. You see what I'm saying? And so we got to know where we at in the story. Most importantly, we have to know how to create. I don't care from the most minute personal thing in our life to collective phenomenon, whatever it is we decide that we want to do. Where are we at in the story? And I'll say it again. Most importantly, the whole time, meaning really, shit, let's just say with the inception of America, the whole time. The spirit of God has been moving through certain individuals in government on our behalf. Yeah. Now that we done got to this particular point where we at, far as how humanity has advanced within the Aquarian age. And those in the Patreon know when we get on it, our thoughts start to jump into other people who are in the field to best express what we're thinking. Let me make it plain. If we go to Stone Mountain with the intention on dealing with the Ku Klux Klan or dealing with the Confederates, well, the day we're scheduled to get there on a Saturday, the day before, the Confederate flag come up missing. And they're like, oh man, somebody stole the fucking Confederate flag. They took it down. Yeah, I bet they did take it down. But we've been advertising for months. We coming on 7/11/2015, and it was called the stump off, and we gonna stump this shit down. We coming. It's documented. And then when we leave, the story says NAACP signing a petition that they want to take off Stonewall Jackson and Robert E. Lee and Jefferson Davis, those three men, off the side of Stone Mountain. Y'all want to make lightning hit Stone Mountain so you can just like, man, you know we can just petition and make lightning strike Stone Mountain? Like, for real. Like, seriously. Man, listen. If you watch this work, and I went in on the earthquake, right? And I showed you way beforehand when the earthquake was coming, because I was commanded to give you the earthquake, okay? That same day when I was on Brother Rich show, I didn't know. But that same day, 6/26, a meteorite had landed in McDonough, Georgia. Now, the Quran says these objects are missiles. That's what the Quran says. And we set up the lower heaven for them and adorned them with lamps and chased the devils with missiles. And the word missile is shooting star meteorite. I've been on the record showing you 626 was the demon remover. That's me. And when I say me, I'm saying the God that is working through me, because regular old me just may want to be on something else. This ain't regular old me. This is the servant me. The I and I, not ego I, higher self I, to help humanity get to a certain point. So if it's on the record, 626 is the demon remover, and the earthquake come on 626, exactly why I say the earthquake gonna come, and then come in and hit McDonough, I can show you what that's all about. Maybe I'll do that next cookbook. I'll show you the science on what's that all about. Because the key is in understanding, well, what's the distance between McDonough, Georgia, where the asteroid thingy hit? Let's just call it a missile, with a space missile hit, to the earthquake. And then throw that in the science calculator and tell me what's happening. Because that's how the divine communicates. Right, the meteorite. Right? 626. But I showed you 626 represents demon. And we removing the demons. And this is how you remove the demons. That's Moorish, but I like to say Moorish magic. That's the Islam side of Ali. Ali, man, I ain't got that book with me. Ali, mystic. That's why all the Sufis trace their lineage back to Ali. They don't trace their lineage back to Umar, Abu Bakr, and Uthman. They wasn't dealing with nothing. In fact, when we get into it, we start seeing that they was plotting and trading against the messenger. We saw that. They weren't working with nothing. I'll show you a hadith. Let me show you a hadith. Let me go to my hadith folder real quick. Where is it's about the Quran, right? Ali, Muhammad, Ali. Here it is, right here. All right. And I wonder if I could blow this up. And let me share my screen. Share screen, entire screen. Boom. And a whole, where is that? Where did the picture go? Oh, right here. I hope y'all can see this. There is someone among you who will fight for the interpretation of this Quran, just as I fought for its revelation. We all looked around. Abu Bakr, Umar, Now, mind you, this is number 1 and 2 caliphs that's gonna come in after Muhammad dies, including, and the prophet said, no, but it is the one who mends sandals, pointing to Ali repairing the prophet's shoes. So what do you mean there's going to be one among you that's going to have to fight for the interpretation of the Quran, just as I fought for its revelation? Did y'all see that? Were y'all able to see that? That's right. Ali is the gate of knowledge. I got hadiths where he said, yo, this is the prophet speaking to Ali. I'm Moses and you Aaron. Do you have a problem with that? Because there ain't gonna be no more prophets after me. But then I find this so ironic when you go look into the story of the prophet making his ascension through the 7 heavens. Who was on the 6th heaven? Aaron. Right? Aaron, or maybe he on the 5th and Moses is on the 6th and Ibrahim is on the 7th. Yeah. Right? So Aaron is on his own heaven. So if Aaron is on his own heaven and the prophet said, I'm Moses and Ali is Aaron, who the hell do you think is supposed to be in charge after the prophet died? Riddle me that. I can show you where he called Ali deputy of Medina and left him in Medina when he went to there was a certain war that took place and he told Ali fall back and take care of the people of Medina. He's making him in charge while he was gone. What are you talking about? But anyway, fight for the interpretation of the Quran. Just like he had to fight for the revelation. So that means if Ali got to fight for the interpretation of the Quran, when the Quran first came out, many of you don't understand it. And the Quran tells you that you don't understand it. The Quran says that. Right? None can grasp it except the purified. So none can touch the book but the purified. Do you really think that just means you need to go wash up and make wudu and take a shower in the bath before you open up to get understanding of what's in the book? But then if you say the purification of the soul, now talk to me. Well, how do you do that? How do you get a certain knowledge to be able to understand that? So it's there. So it's clear. And again, and this is why when you come in the name of Ali, you can't be stopped. You can't be stopped. You can't listen. Maybe I'll save it for Sunday, or maybe I'll just share it again on Sunday. In my what I call my divine counsel, or who I make prayer with, and we on the line of prayer together, Ali there. Ali there. And who knocks on my door, who plays high school football, selling these discount tickets, you know, these cards you get discounts from various places for $20 as a fundraiser for his football? Ali. And all I can do is just laugh. like, man, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Knocks on my door, soliciting. That's why I posted in the Patreon. It's funny to see the name of a person pop up in your reality when you have been concentrating on this particular name or person, and they come in your reality, right? Very, very strange, but that's how it works, right? So it's things like that. Or when I go get these, the new scarf yesterday and whatnot. What's his name? His name is Sharif Ali or something. Yeah, but Ali is in his name. I did nothing but laugh. I went all the way to the little Somali flea market, you know what I mean? And dude name is Ali. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. All right. But I know who in my prayer line. Need to get you a divine counsel when you in your prayer. Man, I can tell you some stuff these last few days. I can just mind blowing. And I said, you know what? I got to get better. I ain't gonna lie about it. Because see, you know how it is. You live in life, right? It's the kids, the school and work and real estate, and you know what I'm saying. You got life going on, so it's easy. It's easy. It can be. It can be easy to fall off your square, and now you don't pray as much, and you just ain't in your spiritual practice ain't as strong as it was when you was in this season. But you know that this is the core and it's the truth, right? And then you try to find a way to balance it. And then, but in truth, you have to put everything around that and not this around that. Period. For me, right? It's season. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it. You know what I mean? I get it, man. We can get busy. We do get busy. You know what I mean? But it starts to, you know that feeling should start to wane a little. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna say this too, man. I'm gonna say this. Pay attention, man. You gotta pay attention to stuff. Pay attention to your money when you deal with people. Pay attention. Do income come in? Especially the entrepreneurs. Are you getting a certain increase? Or when you spend time with this person, are you getting unexpected decreases coming through? Pay attention to that, because that's a story too. All right. All right. All right. All right, man. So y'all good? We straight? Man, special show coming up Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a special show. I'm trying to find the slide real quick. I'm going to set the show immediately after this. You know what I mean? Tales of a Sufi, bringing that West Side African style, bringing my man, really my sheikh, for real. You know what I mean? Bringing my sheikh Sufi Ba into the family. So we can kind of, y'all, we're gonna have to demystify some of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And there's no better person who lives in Africa, lived and currently lives and travels back and forth and can give you the West Side African spirituality. And I heard him say one thing, man. I heard him say, what's the difference between Arab Islam and African Islam? And he said Arab Islam is patriarchal, whereas in Africa they put the woman has a role. And I said, damn, that's interesting, because I showed in my lecture when I was getting on the E-man's ass, when you look up the root word for E-man, it's the same word that means umra, which is community, and that is also the same word that means mother. That's why they call mother Ummi. So the umrah, community, Ummi is mother, Imam, leader. So yeah, it's only befitting that women would have leadership positions, because the very word in Arabic for leader is mother. But in the Arabs would never, ever, ever, ever. They're not at a place. I shouldn't say never. They haven't. When I say never, I'm speaking historically, speaking to the present. They haven't elevated the status of a woman. Listen. I prayed. I don't like, I'm gonna be honest about it. I don't like a woman praying behind me. I don't want you praying behind me. Like the sentiment is the man is the leader. Yo, man, why can't we pray side by side? We side by side when we in bed. I don't think I know you ain't behind me when we in bed. That's for sure. I don't want you behind me. But you behind, I don't get that. Like, I really don't get it. Right? But in Africa, I know I've seen the videos of women inside of these dhikr, or we call zikr circles, doing these chants. And they side by side with the men. You even got you got women who are actually sheikhs inside of these certain orders. They side by side. Ain't no this subjugation shit. I ain't with that. And the very word for leader and iman is mother and community. Hell out of here, man. Get out of here. So we can't pray side by side. And we can't pray together, right? All right. That's kind of strange. You know what I mean? So, all right, I'll see y'all. Make sure y'all click the like button, man. Hop in that Patreon if you haven't gotten the Patreon. Salute to everybody that's doing the work, man. The August schedule is out, posted on the main page. Be ready. We got a lot of work to do. August is busy. August is the return of Sirius. The Dog Star is about to be visible around August 13th, 14th in the morning. Before the sun come up, Sirius is going to come up. So we got something to do with that. Man, we just got a lot of stuff to do in August, and a lot of it's going to be taking place at 10 o'clock at night. So I can give my people on the West Coast a chance to catch up at nighttime when the moon in a certain position as well and whatnot. But, you know, join us in the Patreon, man, because we're going to have some fun in August with some space jamming. All right, man. So I got to handle some business. Back to the other side of work. It's time to pay bills. All right. I get with y'all. Peace. We're gonna end with a prayer. Can we end with a prayer? Let me see. Let me set an outro video, man. Let's hit them with. It's Friday, man. I hit y'all with a short one, Kafir. All right. So let's do Kafir.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar fasalli li rabbika wanhar inna shani'aka huwal abtar.